Hello guys, my name is Anna and I'm a Ukrainian, and I have decided I will vlog daily from my country Ukraine since the start of this awful war with Russia. And in my daily videos I try to update you on the important real-life situations in my country Ukraine, and of course I'm always glad to answer your questions and to clarify some facts from our history, our culture, our background, or whatever interests you. And today we are going to continue talking about general mobilization or special mobilization in Russia, as it is one of the top news and one of the top topics for Ukrainian jokes. I have even come across some posts of Russians on Facebook and other social media where they get really angry with the fact that they have this mobilization and Ukrainians are not afraid, but just on contrary, laughing. We are laughing because now this special operation continues into special mobilization, which is actually a special utilization of Russian orcs that are going for a very short visit to Ukraine and then in Ukraine. Like we have this joke, if you want Ukrainian land, you will get into Ukrainian land. So Putin looked really bad on that video that so many of his countrymen and people globally watched. He did not look like this super strong macho leader, but more a person who apologizes, tries to explain everything, and of course his facts are not working. The Minister of Defense, Orc Minister of Defense, Shoigu, mentioned that they don't have many victims, only 5,000 or 6,000 soldiers. In reality, the numbers that we have now in Ukraine exceeds 55,000 Russian soldiers who died here, but perhaps these numbers are even larger because many of them are left to dissolve on the battlefields. So there is the first question, very logical question. If you have enough soldiers, if you don't have many victims of this war, why on earth do you need to announce mobilization? The number that they want to invite to the Russian armed forces is 300,000 new orcs. But the question is that in the order itself, the number of those who must be mobilized is actually kept a secret and hidden. So it is all like that in Russia. They can tell them need 300,000 and I don't know, mobilize 3 million or something. Then another thing is that mobilization does not mean high quality soldiers who will come here. This means that lots of people who know nothing about war, know nothing about military service will be sent here without training, without special equipment, because they don't have enough powers to work with the soldiers they have already, and they have demonstrated really low preparation. All of their military plans, starting from blitzkrieg and finishing with the control over previously occupied territories, are lost. So in general, there is a question, why do you need more if you cannot work with the ones that you have? And this is one of the reasons why Ukrainians, and I think the world globally, is no more afraid of Russian and their soldiers. And then it is very interesting to observe how quickly Russia loses its allies. First of all, Belarus, who said that they don't need mobilization because they are always mobilized. Smart decision when they decided not to come, for example, to my region because it borders with Belarus. I'm personally satisfied with that. Of course, for me, Belarus is a country of war because they have given everything on their territory, their military bases, their military specialists. Lots of missiles are shot from the territory of Belarus. So for me, it is not a question. But at the same time, the more Putin loses, the less allies he has. So Belarus, then Armenia, who always thought that Russia will support them. And now we see that Russia does not want to continue supporting Armenia, not because of some political, ideological chances, but because it has no resources, no military, no human resources. Why? Because Russia itself loses war in Ukraine. So Armenia switches very quickly and speaks about the United States of America in a totally different manner, which makes me happy too. Kyrgyzstan, just half a year ago or more, was one of the strongest supporters of Putin and Russia, and today They say that if citizens of Kyrgyzstan will participate in war in Ukraine, they can get into prison. And we see that the president of Kyrgyzstan also demonstrated his disrespect to Putin when on the meeting in Samarkand, he made a Russian dictator wait. So this all is extremely nice and make us happy. And demonstrates, of course, that war does not go according to Putin's plan, according to any of his A, B, C, D, E, or whatever, how many these plans he has. Because general or special or limited, whatever, any kind of mobilization, even hidden mobilization, leads to lots of anger and problems inside Russian society, and this is exactly what we need to weaken our enemy and to finally achieve the fall of the Putin's regime. And also, there are some things that demonstrate the failure of Russia and the failure of Putin's politics very vividly. And it reminds me of the very first weeks of this war, February and March, when the whole world was putting sanctions on Russia for their violent and crazy behavior. And now something, after mobilization was announced, something similar is happening. First of all, on the stock market, the prices are falling similar to the level of the start of this war, and many of Russian companies lose their money and perhaps will pretty soon close. But the very best illustration is the fact that airline tickets to all visa-free for Russian countries are sold out. And thousands of Russian men try to escape mobilization, but I guess it is already impossible. And they travel like crazy to Turkey, to some Asian countries, and even those who have visas try to move to Finland. I know that there are many of Russians traveling there right now. And this is a very vivid illustration that Russians don't want to fight. And that is actually understandable, because for us Ukrainians, this war is something we did not choose, but we will never stop fighting because we are fighting for our motherland. We are protecting our territory. We did not cross our borders. And every tree, every house, every cat, every family means a lot to us, and we are doing our sacred duty. And Russians, well, like Russian soldiers were doing evil, were committing sins and crimes because they are bad, because Putin is bad, because there is something inherently wrong with Russian society, and that society was trying to keep closed eyes, to say they are apolitical, to answer interviews in a weird manner like we don't know what is going on, but perhaps Ukrainians should be punished and so on. And now, when they did not want to protest, they get their price. They will be mobilized. They will be sent to the battlefields of Ukraine. And Ukrainian armed forces are very well prepared, very much motivated. The morale is really high. 100% of Ukrainian society is against negotiations and any talks with Russia. We want to win this war, first of all, on the battlefield, and only then start diplomatic negotiations with somebody else than Putin, Shoigu, and other groups of criminals. And most importantly, we have the support of our allies, and we are using new weapons. We are learning how to use them, and we are pretty good at targeting Russian military objects, at destroying their battalions, at making them leave their techniques and machines and escape. One more reasons why they need mobilization. And with all that, I think that because of Putin's speech, where he tries to blackmail the world, where he tries to terrorize, once again talking about nuclear dangers, the world will support Ukraine and will provide us with more weapons. Please do. So we can finish Russian army here on the territory of Ukraine. We never wanted to be a battlefield, but now we are, and we are a battlefield not just between Ukraine and Russia, but between evil and good, between democracy and totalitarianism. And I am convinced, actually, that the start of this mobilization will mark the start of the Putin's regime. And this is one of so many wrong decisions that he made during this year or during these years. And Russians, please understand, you did not want to protest against war in Ukraine. You were trying to pretend everything is okay. Maybe you even liked thousands of Ukrainians killed because they are different or live better than you do. So be prepared now to pay for that, to join Russian armed forces and to demonstrate different ways of death on our battlefields. And we have to observe this won't happen really quickly, and I hope Lend-Lease and more weapons will come faster than those unprepared engineers, doctors and teachers who will be made and sent from Russia to Ukraine to fertilize our soils. Anyway, I'm really grateful for your support, and please let me know what are the other subjects would you like me to cover in my vlogs and in our Soviet Myths Debunked series. If you're not yet acquainted, please go check, there is a separate video list. Thank you for buying me coffees, thank you for becoming my patrons, thank you for providing me with ideas, and most importantly, thank you for standing with Ukraine. Slava Ukraini!